Good evening, EvolvUP family. Good evening, EvolvUP family. Good to see y'all again, man. It's been a long time. It's been over a year since we've been together. As I said, we've had many ups and downs, trials and tribulations, but we kept it trucking. We kept it trucking. We stayed in the fight. We stayed in the fight for encouragement and to be a productive community for each other, where we recognize the need of each other, right? So this season we'll be doing a 8-part season on addiction, the battles of addiction, overcoming addiction, and being victorious in your addiction. Today, we have Sister Trina here today who will be with us. She will be the first mighty woman that we will be gathering with on today that will start us off. Without further ado, I will let Sister Trina introduce herself. Of course, y'all know me, the man with the plan, Brother Gary, EvolvUP admin, it's definitely good to be with y'all again, man. Love y'all. Appreciate the support, the help, the guidance, the wisdom, the team. You know what I'm saying? As we say, we are a family. So I appreciate everything that y'all continue to do as we are on this journey. So we'll let Sister Trina introduce herself and we'll go from there.
Amen. Thank you guys for having me. I think that this segment is something really important. So it's an honor to talk about this and bring it to the forefront. My name is Trina Delatorre, and I am 35 years old, and I was an addict for 18 plus years. This next month in June, I will be celebrating 3 years sober on June 12th.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's a big thing
3
for me.
years.
Yes, 3 years is milestones, little milestones count. And so I feel like I'm so glad to be kicking this off because I was
And I
trained
seen
up.
them pictures too. I seen them pictures. You can tell, like them wasn't the nicest pictures, boy. I tell you, you look real good, healthy, and clean. Like you look real good, healthy, and clean, sis.
It's
So
definitely
more kudos to you on that.
it's a blessing to be here, and it's an honor to teach recovery, to be a recovery leader, and to speak about it because I definitely think it needs to be talked about.
Amen, amen. So with what we're gonna do is start with a background on the recovery and how it started, but most importantly, we want to know how the addiction even began. So we'll start with your family. We want to know just a brief history about your family, and the drugs and alcohol, if any, in your household, and how it affected you and caused you to pick up the same things.
Okay, so my mom, she was a young mom. She was 19. My dad was 14. My mom was an addict for 31 plus years.
You
So
said
for me,
how old again?
my mom was 19, my dad was 14.
Dang!
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said he was getting it in though.
So we had me and my brother at a young age. And then my mom was an addict for 31 plus years. So for most of mine and my brother's life. My dad, I met my dad when I was about 24, going on 25. Um, from what I know, like, he did his thing, he did his time. He's still a big time in the gangs and into drug dealing and things like that. My mom unfortunately passed away 2 years ago from her
Oh,
addiction.
sorry to hear that.
So, but I'm just glad that she got to see me clean and sober and get on my feet and living to the age that I am, because I shouldn't even be alive. I was considered like I won't live past the age of like 10. So
Why is that? You said you weren't supposed to live past the age of 10?
yeah, just because of my disability. So I suffer from cerebral palsy. I have a weak heart. I was born at 7 months, so I have a really weak heart.
Do
And
you
then
think that was that due? Sorry to interrupt. Was that due to the drug abuse?
um I really wouldn't know. I don't think so. My mom said she didn't do any drugs with me, but
Okay, okay.
I don't really know. I hope not. Any, I was just born with a
Well,
lot of.
I only say that because like I suffer from a tendency of having the shakes at times. But that's because my mom drank a fifth of brandy while she was in labor with me, you know. But also, you know, as the community knows, my father being a crackhead as well. You know what I'm saying? Him being a basehead, I'm like contributed to his sperm not being the most healthiest sperm when he ran up in my mama.
I
You know,
that's
so that's why I was asking, do you think it felt like it contributed to that, if any?
I don't think my mom didn't start using drugs until my grandparents passed away. So around the time I was 4 or 5. So around that time, my grandparents, they really helped out my mom because she was a young mom with 2 babies. And I'm like, I had all these breathing machines and heart machines, and it was a lot for her. And of course, my dad was just a child himself and didn't want anything to do with me or my brother. And so I remember vividly the night that my grandma died, they came to our house and they woke up my mom.
Hmm.
And that was the first time after that that I seen her use. Um,
Mm. And how old
so
were you?
I was about 5, 4 or 5.
Is that the
And
first time you seen drug use?
yeah, so she started up like she moved men into our house and
Mm-hmm.
they were moving drugs in and out of the house. So I was forced to share a room with my brother, and then they took over the rest of our house in the projects. So if you've ever lived in the projects, there's like 2, 3 bedrooms upstairs and then the downstairs. So
What
that's where.
what what projects are these?
So we grew up in the red projects over on Alameda, and then my
Okay.
mom went there to the
So
east.
this is West Denver?
And so we
Okay.
went from the yellow projects. They used to call them the yellow projects. So we went from the yellow projects to the east side projects across from the creamery.
That's stomping grounds.
Yes. So
Right.
yeah, so my mom, she just started moving drugs in and out the house. I really think that these men got her started on the drugs. Because my mom just never seemed that type. And then my mom, would do what women would do for drugs, sleeping with this man or that man and that kind of stuff. So that
And did you ever see your father use?
I never saw my dad growing up.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
I was 24.
Okay. So after all of this goes on, what's the next journey in your life after this all happens?
So we got taken away from my mom and we got put into the foster care system.
Right.
And we just bounced around from home to home to home. But of course, like right when we got in the crisis center, they medicated us.
Right. With like
So
medications and trying to diagnose you with stuff and things like that.
yeah, they wanted
Yeah.
kids real calm and things like that. So I think
Right.
that's a big part in the start of something, of the rewiring of the brain at such a young age. And then,
So
going,
so so it was the system who gave you your first dose of any drug or medication
yes,
in hopes to try and control you is basically what you're saying?
I think so, yes.
Okay. What were the medications for?
So we used to take like Ritalin, and then they used to give us some kind of like anxiety sleeping medication.
Okay. Okay.
I do remember that, like being in the crisis center and they would medicate the children. And of course, I was hysterical because I've never been apart from my brother or my mom and being disabled. So that was all I knew.
Right. So at what age? So at the age of 4, you first seen your mom do it, right?
Hmm.
And so what age when you transitioned into the foster system were you?
I was I was 4 going on 5. And then I
So
went.
not too long after you seeing
Mhm,
your mom, you were taken away from her
mhm.
because of what she had going on in her home.
Yep.
And then as you were removed, they put you in a place to where they fed you drugs or medication, which kind of made you feel as if you needed that to be normal, I guess, if you want to say that.
Yeah, to everyday function. Absolutely.
Man, that's crazy. It's crazy because the same thing happened to me when I was younger. Like the drugs and medications that my mom wanted me on in hopes of controlling me or making me in a place to where she could tolerate me, you know. But yeah, I always figure it's crazy. Like the first thing they always think is giving us drugs or medications is gonna solve us or help us, but like it's deeper. It's a deeper something. There's something deeper that's going on with us. You know what I'm saying? Like you bringing me into this system and you don't even know me, and the first thing you want to do is drug me up. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of kids. My son Jalil right now, where he's at McGill right now. The first thing they want to do is feed him medications. Like, bro, you were not taking not one pill of medication of anything out here, and you was perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, as all teenagers, you got your moments, you know what I'm saying, where you want to pout, have emotional fits and things like that. But when he told me they put him on medication, it really frustrated me because now I'm like, now he feels like he's gonna need these medications to function or to go to sleep or whatever it may be. But when he was just in my bedroom at home, he in his room, he was going to sleep fine every night. You know,
Yep.
so I'm glad that you brought that up because a lot of us don't consider the system or being caught up in the system and them wanting to give us medications as a start and assist in us starting an addiction, you know, because now we become dependent on that thing, you know.
Yep.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
so after once you get there, you're on these medications and things like that. When was the first time? First and foremost, how did the medication affect you? That's what I want to know.
I felt like a zombie.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't.
Me too. Did you get fat?
I was already kind of a chunky kid, so I think that really mattered. But I definitely slept a lot.
Okay, okay. It made me fat. I had got titties and everything. Right,
The chunky kid syndrome.
right. Man, I remember seeing my mom and them after a while. They was like, "Boy, you done blew up." I'm like, "It's the medication, y'all. Don't judge me. It's the medication." But no,
It really.
so you feeling like a zombie. Now, when did you decide to stop taking these medications and when did you first engage in drug activity yourself?
So I ended up being adopted um into
After
a
how
group.
long being there?
Um, Let me see, that was 94. So we got adopted somewhere around 2000
Okay.
was when we got adopted. It was, yeah. And so um I want to say like when I hit middle school, I was about maybe 13 going on 14. And me being the rebellious teenager that I was, I grew up with 17 other siblings. I grew up in a group home. So it was really just chaos and everyone was medicated. Everyone, even their
Right.
biological were medicated. And
That's
I
sad. So sad.
it is. I just remember one day like just being I couldn't function, I couldn't focus. And I know that they tried to say I had ADD, I had ADHD, I had mood swings, I had anxiety problems, I needed mood regulators, all these different things. And so my mom, she had pill boxes for all of us, and she would set them on the table, and we would take them on our way out the door. I would keep mine in the back of my mouth and then spit them out on my way out to the car because
Such a rebel. You just such a rebel.
I wanted to see at school.
Right.
Um, and and then I knew when I came home, I just had to be act on
Right.
the arrow so she didn't pick up on anything. So I would have to say I was about in eighth grade, maybe, when I started doing that, when I just stopped taking them. And then by the time I entered high school, that's when I started to have conflict with my parents. And I found out the truth. Um, they got me adopted under false pretenses. And
Mm.
so, me being me, they had hired nannies at this point because we were getting older. So they had
Mm-hmm.
hired people to help take care of the disabled kids. And I remember going through my mom's desk one day and looking through my file, and I found a picture of my brother.
Mm. Mm. Low down, dirty shame.
Right. So
So
then
when did you first engage in drugs and alcohol? When did you first engage in it, and what pushed you to that?
I was 14. I had they had kicked me out
Ah,
because I
okay.
started asking them about my brother, and I started asking questions about my mom, and they didn't like that. They felt like I was a bad influence on my younger brothers and sisters. So they took everything that I had and they just dropped me off at outside of my sister's job. and so
Wow.
and so my sister at the time, she was just 21, and she was just going through a breakup, and she was drinking all the time. So she offered me um my first with cocaine at the age of
So
14.
so so some so a sister that you made while in the group home.
Yeah, that's my adopted sister.
Okay.
One of
So she went once you got put out, she offered it to you.
Mhm.
Why did you take it?
I didn't know what it was. And I was just interested just to try it because I just was like in this rebellious phase of like finding out like my parents had lied to me. Like, what else do I gotta lose at this point? Like, I admired everything that my sister did, So, it started with cocaine, and then
Ah.
because she
So
was
admiration, and interest is what caused you to engage.
right.
That's good. That's good. Admiration and interest cause you to engage because a lot of people in communities, that's exactly what happens. Admiration of whether it's music, the videos, the people you look up to, the gangs in the neighborhood, the people who's well known, siblings in the household, whatever. You know, sorry, so a mess popped up. Whatever that person, whoever that person admires, whatever they see that person doing, if they feel like, oh, well, they doing it and they fine, it sparks an interest in them to be like, well, let me try it out too. Because my brother smoking weed and who somebody I looked up to caused me to spark interest, which caused me to engage in the same thing. And he was the first person that ever gave me my first puff of weed. My oldest brother Eric, and he was somebody that I looked up to. So me looking up to him and me seeing him doing it sparked the interest in me, because at that point in time, when back in the day, we didn't see all of that as much on music videos as they do today. Like there wasn't all that much foolishness on the TV that they show today. So music videos was mostly R&B and trying to find a girlfriend and 106 in Park, and like it wasn't too much of all of that on the music videos and stuff. So I can't say it was the music videos or things like that. You know what I'm saying? I listened to Pac here and there, but not really. The music didn't really influence me, but it was the people in my neighborhood, those I admired, which sparked the interest, and then I decided to engage because I thought, well, since you doing it must be cool. So
Yep,
you basically saying because she was somebody who you had interest to, you had a close relationship to, her doing it made sparked the interest in you and made you accept susceptible to what she offered you.
absolutely.
How did you feel? You said it was coke.
It was cocaine, yeah.
Well, you dived straight in, didn't you? I said you dived straight in. It wasn't no puff of the blunt. It wasn't. She dived straight in.
I didn't know anything about weed at this point. I
Yeah.
like growing up in Bailey, it was such a small community. We lived in a bubble. So living with my sister, I was like, this is the rebellious stage, like she was giving me stuff to drink,
Right.
then cocaine. And then here came her friend. They're young, they're 21, they're going out. Here comes the ecstasy.
Mm. So it just turned into a party fest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Um, what do you feel like? Um, what do you feel like the gains that you got from doing drugs and alcohol?
I thought I gained
Okay, so what age did you first have your first drink at?
14.
Okay. Oh yeah, you was big dogging it. You was big dogging it. Yeah. So what throughout your life, as you sit back and reflect on it, do you feel like you gained anything from engaging in drugs and alcohol?
I'm just glad I did it at a young age because as I got older, it just interests me. You
Right,
know,
right, right,
get stuff out of your system. And then at
right.
that, like I said, my sister was a big time alcoholic. And so I was constantly taking care of her and just seeing this lifestyle. And it's just like, oh, you want to be older and just go out and get drunk and do
There you
these
go.
things.
There you go. There you go. We all want to grow up too fast and thinking that being grown is part of being able to drink and drug freely, right? Because we see everybody else doing it. I'm grown, so I'm able to drink and smoke and do whatever I want to do. So when you, it's kind of like what's the word? A rite of passage. It seems like a rite of passage for a lot of us. Like when I'm able to hit the weed and drink some alcohol, now I'm considered grown. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you really consider lost for a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? And it opens up doors and things for the enemy to come in and just open up just bad, evil things in our lives. So with that being said, what did you lose? What did you lose from the drug and alcohols that you engaged with?
Um, well, that was just the beginning for me. So
Right.
I went from cocaine to ecstasy to um that was no longer like sustaining me. So then I went to pills. Like I went to oxys, perks, Vicodins, breaking them up, snorting it with the cocaine, mixing it with the ecstasy, to make it hit your system faster. So then I just started to become more addicted to it to where I needed it. And people around me, I went from my older sisters to the other older sister. Then I was in and out of the streets with my kids' dad at a young age. I met him, he was 27. I'm 15. He was into selling and everything, and so it just kept growing from there. And
Mm.
I went from pills to trying meth. Then I did acid, and
My God.
it's just
My God.
it's just like little me too. You have to picture I'm only 4'10". I'm really
Right.
only
Right.
90 pounds, you know, and it's just this is the cool thing to do. I'm dating an older guy. He's a drug dealer. This is what we do. And I should have learned the first time I overdosed.
But it
um,
became normal to you.
it was a normal thing. It became a
Yeah.
normal thing for 18 plus years.
Right.
So I
So
was
so 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 what all did you lose while on this journey?
I lost everything. I lost who I was or who I thought I was. I lost my family, both of them, my adopted family and my biological family. I lost my kids. I couldn't
Mm,
protect kids.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. I know. I know. Mm, I get it. I know. I know. It's it's something that we think is good and dandy until the things that we really care about, we don't realize is the things that we given up for something that don't love us back or care for us. You know what I'm saying? And it was the same way with me, with the streets and the gangs and everything like that. I lost my son, for a long time, Granted, by the grace of God, I was able to get him back into my care, but that loss, man, family, friends, jobs, like just losing your life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Everybody
it's. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's fighting for your life. Looking back, a lot of that is a blur. I
Yeah.
know people have told me like, oh, you used to do this, like you was crazy. And a lot of it I don't remember, but I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And
Amen. Amen.
I mean, it took losing my oldest, like you said, I had Rihanna when I was 16.
Yeah.
And my firstborn son, I lost at 2 months old. My ex-husband was so high on drugs, he killed him. And
Mm.
my other son, who is now 9, um, I was forced to give him up for adoption. Um,
Mm.
part of it's a continuous cycle. For one, being a minority, two, being a product of the system, and just not getting the resources that we need. That there's like this taboo thing of like, so for me, I remember when I got arrested, when I had lost my son, like the first thing I remember my public defender showing up like 2 minutes before my first court date, right? And they're asking me like, what's your history, blah 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 blah. And they tried to use like my upbringing in foster care, me being disabled, as a defense. And
Uh-huh.
I've been disabled my whole life, so I don't use my disability as an excuse for anything.
Right.
And that was like the first thing for me. And I remember going to court and fighting for my son for a year and a half. And every single thing, they wanted me to be in therapy. And on the paperwork, they said I needed to be heavily medicated and emotionally regulated.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
it's on the documentation. And I told my lawyer, I said, I can't do that. I remember when I first got arrested, they medicated me as soon as I hit the jail. And I was